What's up, so basically for today's video, it's gonna be a lot more of a simple video. So it's basically gonna be a video where I see a couple different places around my hometown area, and then basically after that, I'm gonna be giving an overview on how I felt about this year's past vacation that I went on, the spring break trip, and kind of giving my input on that and how it compared to past vacations. So it's mostly gonna be a vacation review video of a couple things I do around my hometown area. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Better shape that.
Start falling, 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 'cause we'll start falling.
So basically now I'm gonna be moving on to like the sit down portion of today's video. So basically how I felt about like this year's like road trip that I did this year. It's kind of like a road trip, but not fully like a road trip because I mean, I ended up like flying to and from Vegas for this trip, but it was kind of like a smaller road trip in a way because like I still had to like drive out to like the places in Utah and Arizona and all that. So I kind of got like a bit of both, like a flying experience and like a road trip experience. So although the flying like did save a lot of time and a lot of like energy trying to haul out to like Las Vegas, I mean, there was a lot of stress involved, like the flying aspect of this trip. Like the flying itself wasn't that bad. It's mainly the rental car situation and the experience I had with the first rental car place. I mean, whenever like we missed the flight the one day and got a second rental car, I mean, we went to a different place and ended up like being a much better experience. But the experience I had with the first place was pretty rough that first day. The whole first day of the vacation was not the best in general, and I kind of had a headache and all that whole day. I mean, I did have some good moments that evening, like with the Strat Tower, but I mean, other than that, it was a really rough day to get through, if I'm gonna be completely honest. But once that day was like over with, I feel like the trip was like slowly starting to get better and better each day, and it definitely got a lot better as I like got further into the trip and after that really rough first day that we had. So in my opinion, I prefer like driving to places if I can, but I mean, sometimes I feel like it's necessary to fly somewhere because especially like if it's like spring break where you only have like a certain amount of time to be out for vacation, sometimes flying is necessary because you save a lot of time that you would have like trying to drive out from like the Midwest all the way to Utah. It takes like probably 2 days just to like get from St. Louis to Las Vegas, even if you're like not stopping a whole lot and only stop like one night. So I do think flying is pretty necessary, even if it's like somewhere where you necessarily don't have to fly to. I prefer to drive places whenever like I have the chance and all that because I just feel like it's a lot less stressful and it's a lot easier to like manage your stuff and all that. So I do prefer driving road trips, but I mean, if I have to fly somewhere in order to make the trip work, I mean, I'll do it. So that's kind of how I feel about that. But my absolute favorite day that I had on this trip was the day that I did the Angel's Landing Trail and then like did Emerald Pools like later that evening. The Angel's Landing hike ended up like being a pretty crazy experience, like using the ropes to try to like get to like the top of the place. It ended up being a really thrilling experience, like using the ropes to hang on and seeing the views from the top there. Ended up like being a really fun day, and that was by far my favorite day on this trip. And also it was like the least stressful too because like we didn't have to do that much driving that day. Like all we did was like driving to the park, and then there was a little bit of a hassle like trying to park at Zion, but that was mostly on the second day that I was there, like whenever I did the Narrows hike. Like the first day it only took like 15 minutes to find a space, which is a lot better than trying to spend 45 minutes, which is how long I had to spend the second day. So I did not like that aspect of the trip either, but I feel like the day that I did the Angel's Landing hike was probably one of the least stressful days I had on this whole trip. So, and then also like missing the flight that one day, I mean, it was really stressful at first, like, cause I genuinely like had no idea like what I was gonna be doing and how I was gonna get home and all that, and like what the plans were, if we were gonna like have to stay in the airport overnight and be stranded at the airport. It was a bit stressful at first, but it ended up like working out and ended up like being a blessing, honestly, because like I was able to go out to Death Valley, and even though I was only there for 2 hours, I ended up like seeing a lot in the amount of time that I was there, and ended up like being a really surreal experience getting to see the lake formation there. They normally don't have a lake formation there, but it was like a rare lake formation, so ended up like being really awesome getting to see that, and Battle Basin, the lowest point in the US, and I didn't think I was going to be seeing Death Valley in this trip, so it ended up like being a really nice surprise at the end, and in a way I'm really glad I did end up missing the flight. I mean, I'm glad I like wasn't stuck there too long either, so it ended up like working out really good, like missing that flight that day. I wouldn't like want to try to have that happen in the future, but I mean, end up like working out the best of our favor. So overall, how I felt about this trip compared to like past trips I did, I mean, it was a bit different. I ended up like getting to do a lot more parks in like a shorter amount of time because I ended up like flying on this trip instead of like driving, because like we didn't have those like 3 to 4 extra days that were spent mostly doing big haul drives, so I end up like getting to see a lot more places in a shorter amount of time. I mean, I still really like the 2022 road trip that I did. I think that one will always be my favorite because of like the whole variety of stuff that I did on that trip. I mean, I really did like this trip. It was like a nice follow-up for like the summer 2022 road trip that I did. Places I didn't get to see because I didn't have like a whole lot of time. And I got to like see a lot more of Zion on this trip that I didn't get to see in 2022. And I also got to like do more of the Narrows hike, so it felt like a nice little extension to the summer 2022 trip, and it helped make the trip feel more complete doing this extra like spring break trip. So it was a really stressful vacation. There was a lot of stressful moments on this trip, but it also ended up like being a lot of fun and got to see a lot of places in a short amount of time. So that's basically how I felt about like this year's road trips. So basically for the next part of today's video, I'm gonna be like talking briefly about like what my plans are for like the summer this year and some of the things I'm planning on doing again. So basically the first major thing I'm gonna be planning on doing like coming up is I'm gonna be doing like a little small getaway to like Arkansas and like seeing a couple like places around there. It's mostly gonna be like northern Arkansas. It's gonna be like maybe a couple days where I see a couple places there. It's gonna be kind of similar to like the Tennessee trips I did last year, except it's gonna be Arkansas version. So that's basically my plan for like some of my first summer uploads. And then I'm also planning on having a Kincaid Lake video coming up too. So I think later on in the summer I'm gonna be going back out to the one bungee jumping place again, and it's possible I might try to do a backwards dive off there, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get myself to do it. I'm at least gonna do like the forward jumps I did last year. I'm probably not gonna be doing the front flip again. I mean, unless I like accidentally do it again, over rotate and do it again, but I'm not gonna be doing it again unless I like do it on accident like I did that one time. So I'm planning on going back out to the bungee jumping place again, and I think I'm be doing like one Tennessee getaway in like early July, late June. I mean, I'm not gonna be doing two again like I did last summer, especially since I'm gonna be doing the Arkansas getaway, but I'm planning on doing like another like Tennessee getaway where I like see some of my favorite waterfalls from like both the trips. And then I think in Chattanooga I'm gonna be seeing this like one place I haven't seen yet called, I think it's like Lookout Mountain. So it's like another attraction in Chattanooga that I haven't seen since I already did the Incline Railway, and then I also like saw the Ruby Falls. So this is like the last like major attraction in like Chattanooga that I wanted to see. So that's basically like my plans for like the summer so far. I honestly don't know what I'm gonna be doing other than that, other than like smaller stuff like Johnson Shut-ins and all that, but those are like the main things I'm planning on doing throughout like late May until like June, early July. I honestly have no idea like what's gonna go down the second half of the summer. I'll probably be giving an update on that like in a month from now. So that's basically my plan for like the first part of the summer and some of the places I'm planning on like seeing again and some of the videos I'm planning on having out. So I hope you guys enjoy like all the road trip videos I had out this year and all the places I ended up like getting to see. And I also hope you enjoyed all the stuff that I did earlier on in today's video. Subscribe and keep my post notifications on to see you next. So basically the next video I'm gonna be having out is gonna be my first summer upload, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. Go!